Hey guys, this is Zach with Next Tech, and I am super excited for this video because in this video I get to share this bad boy with you, the Ursa Mini Pro 12K. Whew. Let's get started. So unboxing this thing, we've got the VMount Plate, and obviously we have the camera itself, and here it is. And the main reason I ended up deciding to get this camera, and what we did is we actually swapped our Red Epic, which was kind of an older Red Epic model. It was the one that did 8K 30, and basically we do exhibit designs, which I've discussed here at this company. And the big reason we want a camera with high resolution is so that we can put a video across multiple 4K screens that are kind of creating one massive screen, you know, like video tiling them together. And with that added resolution, you just get a lot better of a look over those multiple screens than you would if the resolution was much lower. You know, when you're working with a video wall, for example, that might be 16 feet wide and 8 feet tall, you know, that's a big difference compared, you know, that's a huge difference compared to a TV or something much smaller. So you definitely do need quite a bit of resolution. And as you can see here, the camera is just nice sized body, nice little switches everywhere. You got your XLR in the back. And honestly, I like this. The best thing to me about this versus the Red is just that everything that you need is built into the camera, and you don't have to buy all these extra additions to get it working. You know, there is a usable screen on the side of it. It's not an added accessory. There is XLR inputs. It's not an added accessory. There are ND filters, which isn't even a accessory that Red themselves make, and they're built into the camera. And that's huge for me because I shoot everything outside. Between this company where I shoot everything for more like wildlife stuff, obviously that's all outside, and then most wedding videos, which is the other side of things that I'm shooting, are also all outside. The other thing I'll show you guys with this is I will install this VMount plate as you see here, and let me reposition it actually. And here, now that you can see the VMount plate a little bit better, basically this plate plugs into the back of the Ursa Mini Pro, and then there's these little plastic wafers that have to be kind of pulled out, and then you can screw in all the screws that kind of lock this plate into the back of the Ursa Mini Pro. And I like this a lot, that this isn't a stock feature. I understand, yeah, it sucks that you have to go buy something. It's not the most expensive thing. Obviously, this is a $10,000 camera, and this battery plate is $100. So not much when you're talking about the grand scheme of things. Plus, then you are choosing the mount that you prefer, and I prefer V-mount primarily because I have a lot of V-mount batteries already. This V-lock plate was made by ND Pro. It's not actually the Blackmagic design plate, and that's primarily because the company I ended up getting this camera from is ACS, and this is their battery plate. ACS is a small company out of New York, and originally I had this camera pre-ordered through B&H, but since B&H is so huge, there were so many orders that they had ahead of me that I just seemed to be on an inevitable back order for a while. And then I ended up seeing it, like, of all places, on Instagram, that this company was advertising that they had a couple Ursa Mini Pro 12Ks, and so I called them up and got it shipped over within like the next 2 days. So thank you very much, ACS, and thank you for being so helpful and getting it out to me so quickly. Alright, so now that we got the V-lock plate on, let's continue with the setup of this and install the side handle. The side handle is really easy to set up. It's actually a toolless setup. As you can see, there's just this little screw that's built into the side of the camera that connects to the rosette mount, and you just tighten it down and then plug in this cable, and it appears to be some sort of auxiliary style cable. That is what syncs with the camera for the record button to actually work on this handle. All right, and now that the handle's on, we're gonna move on to the top plate, where basically also super simple. They give you the Allen key you need. It's 3 screws or bolts, and tighten these bolts down, and voila, you got a new top plate. All right, now we're getting into the real meat of this setup. So obviously I primarily have the Rokinon Cine line of lenses, so I needed this to be an EF mount. I like that. I don't mind that it came with a PL mount. In the future, I might actually get some PL mount lenses, so it's nice that I do have that ability to switch back and forth. But definitely for the time being, I will be sticking with EF lenses. So I'm going to use this EF mount and start setting it up. At first I had quite a bit of difficulty setting this up and figuring out how you swap it. Obviously there's no YouTube videos out there to help guide you, and that's what I'm here for. So took some trial and error, and I finally kind of figured it out by almost watching the opposite on the older Ursa Mini models. I watched some people installing some PL mounts, which kind of showed me how to remove this PL mount. Essentially, once you take out all the screws around the PL mount, it just comes right out, and you just have to be kind of careful. The reason I struggled was because essentially you can see 4 screws right off the bat, and you think that you've gotten them all, and there's actually 2 hidden underneath the PL mount itself. So if you kind of slide the PL mount or twist it around, you'll actually reveal some other screws as well that need to come out before the mount comes out. And then the other problem that I had, and this was just me being dumb and not reading instructions, was couldn't figure out why the EF mount wasn't sitting flush. And then I realized, because I found this baffle tool, I was like, oh, you have to unscrew the baffle out. And so obviously that's what I ended up doing. You unscrew the baffle out of the camera body basically, and the EF mount actually has that built into it, so you don't have to install a new one in. And basically after this, the EF mount drops in, you attach the 4 screws that hold that EF mount in, and voila, you got a new EF mount. And just to add in my literal final touches, adding a little SSD carrier so that I can use Samsung T5 drives with this camera, which is what I also use on my Pocket 6K cameras, and And then I'm also going to install my microphone as well as my top handle. So now that you guys got to see some sweet B-roll, here are some test shots that I took of my dogs. This first clip is at 8K 60, so I zoomed out and slowed it down for you guys so you could really tell. The second clip's at 12K 60, and then the third clip's also at 12K 60. I think all 3 of the shots are perfect examples of how high res these are and how crisp these images really do look. So this is one heck of a camera, as you guys can tell from that test footage of my dogs. Obviously, I only got to play around with it just a little bit, but as of shooting right this second, those clips were taken, a couple days ago, and this last weekend, I actually got to try this camera out on a wedding video. So look forward to another video or follow-up video where I go over what it was like to use the Ursa Mini Pro 12K filming someone's wedding. And honestly, I have very positive reviews, but stay tuned for that video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you liked getting to see how this got set up, unboxed, and you obviously got to see some test footage as well. I'm so glad I got to share this camera with you all, and looking forward to more videos on this, on the server upgrade, and countless more that I never seem to have enough time for. This is Zach with Next Tech. See ya!